Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back. My name's Danielle. I'm a holistic wellness counselor, and I make videos that help women holistically heal their mental health and align with their highest self. And today we are going to be talking about life without social media, how to do a social media detox, and the benefits of letting go of comparison and scrolling. I did not expect to be making this video, but it all came about because a week ago, I woke up, it was a Monday, and I just decided I had this urge, I'm not really sure why, to just delete social media from my phone. And for me, that includes Instagram and Facebook because I never actually had TikTok downloaded on my phone and now I can't download it. But Instagram was what really got me like scrolling and comparing, all of that stuff. So I deleted Instagram, I deleted Facebook. What social media does not really include for me is YouTube and Pinterest, because those are things that I intentionally use. I go out and I seek it out for a specific video. Pinterest I like to make vision boards on, but I'm not really caught scrolling or wasting a lot of time. It's more intentional, so I didn't really count that in this detox. But really what I wanted to remove myself from was Instagram. And after going over a week without social media, without scrolling, I found so many benefits that I did not expect. And what was also really interesting is that I didn't really find myself craving to go on it. It wasn't something where I was looking for it on my phone or I felt like a lack without it. Honestly, I didn't even think about it once, which is really weird considering I run a large portion of my business and my counseling practice through Instagram. So I may have to, go in my head and rewire my whole business model now, but that's for a whole different topic and video. But what I thought was interesting was all of the things that happened in this week in replace of me scrolling, or as an effect of me not having immediate gratification or an instant distraction from something. So I wanted to take you through another week in my life. So this will be week 2 of life without social media to inspire you and give you some insights and also some tips and tricks on how you can heal your relationship with social media or do a detox if you feel like that is something that is right for you. So the first point I wanted to make is that regardless of your relationship with social media, whether you use it a lot or a little for your business or just for pleasure, doing a cleanse and doing a social media detox will always be helpful. And that's because as a human being, we have so many habits that we pick up on that become neural pathways in our brains, just a super subconscious habit that we don't even realize. And so I think it's good every once in a while to take an inventory, take stock of the things that have become habitual in your life and ask yourself, is this serving me? Is this not serving me? And how can I heal my relationship with this habit? Social media is something that has really taken the world by storm, and the currency, the reason why social media is free is because your attention is the currency. And so in thinking about that and thinking that when you're scrolling, the entire social media app is designed to keep your attention. So you can kind of ask yourself this question of, where should my attention be in order to feel my best and create a life that I genuinely love? If you're curious, and since you clicked on this video, I'm sure you are, about how a social media detox can help you or if that's something that you should do, I have a few questions that I encourage you to reflect in your head or reflect in a journal. The first one is, what is social media replacing in your life? When you go to scroll on social media, what is the intention? What is the purpose? Are you using it as a distraction? Are you using it during filler time? When there's an emotion that you're uncomfortable sitting with, do you go and distract yourself on social media? Is it to catch up on friends? Is it to look for recipes? What is it replacing in your life? And also, what is the purpose of social media in your life? It's good to just take inventory and reflect on that. It can be positive, negative, or neutral, no judgment. Just reflect all the thoughts that come up. The second one is, what is social media offering a distraction from? So this one's more specific. This one gets a little bit deeper of interesting, when I'm feeling a certain way or when this thing happens, I tend to go towards my phone and scroll. Think about that. Think about what that could mean for you and your life and how that distraction could be positive or negative. Third question is, what is social media giving you that you are seeking? Whenever we do something, there's usually a reason. We're usually getting something positive out of it. Even things like taxes that we really don't want to do, we're doing it because we really don't want the negative consequences of not doing your taxes, right? So if you're doing something, there's a purpose, there's a function behind it. What is the function and the purpose of social media? When you go and you click on it, what are you seeking? 4, how much time are you actually spending on social media a day? This one is kind of hard to look at, but I'm sure your phone has some type of like screen time monitor or number that you can go and look at. Look at your analytics. How many hours a day are you actually spending on social media? And get honest with yourself about what you could be doing in that time when you're not scrolling. Even just 2 hours is a lot of time. You could start a side hustle, you can clean up your home, you can start a new hobby, you can deepen relationships. You can do so much in 2 hours. And so just really think about how much time you're spending on social media and what you could replace that time with that could really, really benefit you. Number 5 is how many times a day does social media distract your mental flow? I've noticed personally that if I was like in the middle of writing a paper or in the middle of doing something and I got sidetracked or confused, I would just find myself on my phone and I would have this moment, this out of body experience of how did I get here scrolling or how did I get here on my phone when I was just in the middle of a task? And so I've noticed that social media really disrupts my mental flow. It's hard to have hours of like blocked focus time that's really, really good for productivity when I have access to social media. So I encourage you to ask yourself that same question. How many times a day does social media rip you from your mental flow or the flow of what you were doing? Number 6 is, does the thought of deleting these apps stress you out? There's no right or wrong answer. It's just kind of good to get an idea on where you are with your relationship with social media. For me personally, the thought of deleting Instagram was a little stressful. Not really because I felt like I was going to be missing out on anything. Like there really wasn't FOMO aspect. It was more so the business end of it. I felt like I was, well, I guess it was kind of like missing out in a way. It was missing out on business opportunities or sharing my thoughts or connecting with potential clients or current clients. So when looking at that before I decided to delete it, I decided that I would allow myself once a day to check Instagram on my desktop, and the only thing I was allowed to do was go to messages. So essentially it was like checking my email, and I would answer just any direct messages I got there, whether it was with friends or clients or connections I've made in the mental health space. But to me, that felt appropriate because I wasn't wasting my time scrolling, I wasn't distracted, I wasn't comparing myself. I was intentionally going onto my desktop to answer emails or messages. So that felt fine to me. And then I realized after that, I didn't really feel stressed out about deleting the apps. But if you ask yourself that question of, does it stress you out? You might get good insight into your motivations behind social media, good, bad, neutral. And number 7, the last question before you go on a social media detox is, what is your intention for going on this detox? What do you want to get out of this experience that you're putting yourself through? For me personally, it was a really busy week and I felt like I just didn't want the distractions because I had a lot to get done. But now this week, my intention for not going on social media is to really work on my personal development, really work on my wellness, my creativity, finding my voice again. I feel like social media robbed me of my creativity because I had access to so many people's thoughts and opinions, and I kind of surrendered my power and gave my power away to what I thought was good or bad. Like I thought if you had more followers or if you had a different type of brand or you just like looked cool or whatever that means, I felt like what you did was better or it was right. So I found that I was creating not from my own voice, but in a way that like matched what I thought it should be based off of the experts. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but I really want this week to connect back with my own creativity, my own energy, and my own voice in the wellness space. I'm a holistic mental health practitioner. I am so passionate about helping women heal their mental health and shift the energy and their thoughts and their bodies and their minds and just become the most empowered, aligned versions of themselves. And I don't think I'm going to be able to complete my mission to its fullest extent if my brain is cluttered with other people's ideas and thoughts. So this week, not as busy as last week, I have some extra free time to really reflect on my mission, reflect on what I want to create in this world. I want to create in-person group workshops and programs for my local community. I really want to focus on brainstorming that. Just so many things I've had in my mind that I feel like I do have the time for. I can make the time, but social media was taking that time away from me. So that's my intention for this week of no social media. I encourage you to journal out and reflect your intention, because when you have a why, you're more likely to actually, complete the mission and actually stick to what you say you're gonna do because you have such a strong why. So that's my why. What's your why? And before I take you through my week and share with you the things that I've really noticed in this social media detox that has completely transformed my mindset and my emotional and energetic well-being, I wanted to share with you the things that I have replaced social media with. Now, I did not go into the last week of no social media with a list of things to occupy myself. I just did it on a whim. I didn't even plan on making a video about this. But I sat down and I wrote down some things that I found myself doing in replace of scrolling or when I just had some free time. So I'm going to share them with you in case it inspires you to do these things and implement them instead of scrolling on social media. And then we will get into the week in my life of no social media, and I'll share with you throughout the week all of the things that I've noticed and observed and all of the lessons and takeaways from this experience. So the first thing I've done that replaced social media was reading, but I kind of don't even count it because I've always been a reader. I've been a reader since I was 10 years old. There's always a book in my hand. And so honestly, I was just excited because I was like, wow, I have so much more time to read all of these books I want to read. So I have the Kindle app on my phone and I also have Kindle Unlimited. So I downloaded a few Kindle Unlimited books whenever I found myself going on my phone because I had a spare few minutes or I was waiting online or whatever it may be. I found myself going and opening the Kindle app and just reading a chapter or a few pages of a Kindle Unlimited book that I was excited to read. So that was very fun. Another thing I found myself doing specifically in the morning and at night was journaling. So at night was when I used to scroll the most because I wouldn't really scroll that much during the day. I mean, I would, don't get me wrong, but the bulk of my scrolling happened at night. And so I found that when I wasn't really interested in reading a book at night, which normally I am, I found myself grabbing my journal. And this wasn't something that I really planned to do. I have a journal by my bedside and I just grabbed it and I started to just write down my thoughts. Some nights it was 5 minutes, some nights it was like almost an hour of writing down all of my thoughts, and so much came out on the page. But reading and journaling are definitely the two biggest things that replaced my scrolling. The next one's kind of funny, but that is the New York Times games. So like the Wordle, but the New York Times also has a bunch of other games. My favorites are the Wordle, the mini crossword puzzle, strands and connections. There's a whole bunch of others, but honestly, they're like really hard and complicated. But those four are my favorite games. I downloaded the New York Times games app on my phone. And that's what I do in the morning with my coffee. I'm an old woman, I swear. I grab my coffee and I get so excited about this. I got my fiance excited about this, that when I do the crossword and the Wordle without him, he genuinely gets upset. But I grab my coffee and I sit there and I play the games, and it like wakes my mind up because I have to really think and use my brain. So it's really nice. I have the coffee waking up my body, and I have the Wordle and the New York Times games waking up my mind. But that has been a great replacement to social media. I would try to stay away from going on social media in the morning, but if I'm being completely honest, I've failed at that a lot of the time. So not having access to social media on my phone, but instead having the Kindle app and the New York Times games, that has been the best replacement ever. And I actually feel like productive from it, and I'm not wasting time. It's intentional, it's like meaningful to me. The next thing on my list is cooking and baking. I love to bake, cook, not so much. I'm not terrible at it, but definitely like not a chef by any means. But I found myself getting inspired to try new recipes because the biggest thing I've noticed from not using social media was where my thoughts go in my brain. Like I think so much more because when I'm not scrolling, I'm just in my head thinking, and a lot of the things that pop up in my head are like, oh, I wanted to make that, or I wanted to try that recipe, or what should I eat for dinner? Like those thoughts of like, oh, what should I eat? And then I'm like finding myself looking up recipes and saving them as PDFs, and I have like a folder of 20 recipes I want to try, and I started making them, and I baked these like protein blueberry muffins yesterday that were so good. And I just feel like I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have been trying all these recipes if I didn't allow my thoughts to go into like, what should I have for a snack, or what should I eat later for dinner? So that's been a nice surprise. Another thing on my list is calling loved ones. I FaceTimed my best friend for like 3 hours, and I know that's not realistic as an everyday thing, but I had such a lovely conversation with her. We had such a deep, meaningful talk, and I feel like I wouldn't have been inspired to give her a ring if I was scrolling on social media. I probably would have just been like sending her memes, which is fine and dandy, but we had a 3-hour-long lovely talk that just filled up my heart and soul. And I really feel like I deepened that friendship. I mean, we're besties, so like our relationship is already deep. But I don't know, I feel like it got to another level. And again, the reason why I called her and to see, just FaceTime her to see if she was free, was because the thought popped up into my head. Why the thought popped up? I wasn't distracted on my phone. Oh my God, I cannot express this enough. Social media is so distracting. Wow. Okay, the next thing on my list are educational and uplifting YouTube videos. The reason why I don't count YouTube as social media is because I don't waste time on there. When I go and click a video, I'm either looking up something educational or I'm like on the treadmill and I'm looking at like vlogs and like just uplifting videos. Like I subscribe to a lot of people that when I watch their content, they genuinely inspire me to either like enjoy the mundane version of life, do a March reset or like a clean your house with me videos, like those types of vlogs. They really, really inspire me. And I feel like I'm gaining so much from watching that content and I'm not wasting it. It's super intentional, it's super mindful, and I actually feel like I grow from the content that I'm watching. Nothing against content on YouTube that isn't inspirational or educational. I just don't tend to gravitate towards those types of videos. So I find that spending the social media time watching a video is really, really great for me. The next thing on my list is movement and music. So I found that in like the 15 minutes I have between things or whatever it may be, the time that I would normally go on my phone and scroll, I found myself on my phone, but on Spotify. And I made a few playlists that I found really nice. And then I found myself like moving around. Like, I don't know. It's becoming spring soon and I feel like I want to listen to a lot more uplifting, upbeat songs. So I made like a happy vibes playlist and then I just got dancing and, I had that, moment where I was just dancing alone in my room and I felt alive and young and free and like I had no problems in the world. And it really uplifted me. It made me feel so good. I got some movement in. I made a playlist that I really like. I would not have done that if I had Instagram on my phone. The next thing I have here is EFT tapping. I am a big proponent, a big lover of EFT tapping and meditation, by the way, but I feel like I don't tap and I don't meditate as much as I should. Meditation is something that I try to make a habit in the morning, so it's not like social media, not having social media has made me meditate more, but not having social media has made me do EFT tapping more. And that's because only a few rounds of tapping can take like 10-15 minutes. So when you do have that spare time, either like, I don't know, before the gym, after the shower, whatever spare time you have in your day, and you're thinking and you're having these thoughts, if my thoughts were negative or if I felt a lot of anxiety in my body, I was just more aware of how I was feeling without the distraction. And if I wasn't feeling very great, I would sit and I would just do a few rounds of tapping and I would feel so much better. So that's something I noticed that I just naturally filled the gaps in with that have been extremely helpful for my emotional and mental well-being. So that's all I have written down for the list of things that I've replaced social media with. I know this intro got very long, but I really wanted to give you an in-depth explanation of why I did a social media detox, my intention behind it, the interesting things I've learned so far, and ways that you can implement a social media detox. So step 1 is reflecting and asking yourself those questions. Step 2 is brainstorming a list of things you can replace social media with. And step 3 is just deleting it and going for it. And I hope the rest of this video inspires you and shows you a little inside sneak peek of what life can look like in your 20s in 2025 without social media. Because when I tell you I have no desire to download it back, I don't know how long this social media break is going to be, but I'm really rolling with it, going on week 2, loving every second, feeling so good. So I'm excited to see where this takes me and all of the lessons that I learned from it. Hello, I have a break between clients and I'm just sitting here on my little reading chair reading my Kindle, and let me show you. Drinking my peppermint tea. So yeah, this is what I'm doing for about 20 minutes before I have to hop on another Zoom call, but I finished my notes, I finished my session prep, and I have some extra time. I'm in the middle of a really good book, And I don't know, my tummy was kind of hurting, so I thought peppermint tea and a little book and just a quiet moment would be exactly what I needed to then handle the rest of my day and all of the other things that I have to do. So taking this moment to ground my energy, have a little me time, take care of myself, soothe my nervous system, have a cup of tea, read a few chapters, then get back to my day, I guarantee, without a shadow of a doubt, that if I had Instagram on my phone, I would have found myself scrolling for these 20 minutes, not very mindful, being kind of all up in my head, not relaxing, and actually I probably wouldn't show up and be the best counselor I could be with my energy all scattered. So by doing this, I'm actually helping my clients, and I'm grounding my energy and showing up in the world as a better version of myself, and that makes me feel so happy, so fulfilled, and so in alignment with my purpose. I'm realizing more and more as I do this journey that social media just really doesn't align with me, which is really interesting. So we'll see my thoughts at the end of the second week and kind of what I plan on doing, if I plan on downloading it back or not. But right now I'm realizing that I'm a better person and I'm a better counselor. I do my job better when I'm well rested, well relaxed, I should say, and mindful, present, and kind of filling up my own cup first before I then pour into others. So that's a little check-in. That's what I'm doing. Reading, I have my cup of tea, and I'll tune in on the next update. Usually I have been making an espresso in the morning, but the process of making a drip coffee has been so therapeutic for me because I am mindfully walking through all of the steps with a lot of intention. I am cleaning the pot, adding the grounded beans, adding water to the machine, and then I'm waiting for the coffee to drip for about 3-4-ish minutes, whereas the Nespresso has been such an instant gratification that I just go in, click a button, and it's done in like 45 seconds. So this whole process of making drip coffee has really supported my nervous system in winding down, and I have loved the extra time social media detox has given me to do so. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, my friends. So I just made my coffee. It's about 6:30, so the lighting in here is all weird. But this is the time where I normally do the Wordle games, and I wanted to show you. This is what it looks like. There's so many that you can choose from. My favorite is Strands. Connections is hard, but I like it. Love Wordle. Spelling Bee is hard. I don't do it every day because I want to like myself in the morning. What's the other one? I love the mini crossword. Love. So the first one I do is I usually do the mini crossword. We can play it together. So the first one across, so this is what it looks like, says secretly includes on an email chain. God, I don't know. Next one down, everything good, question mark. This is what it says, just like everything good. All right, no, it's not check. But I did get a K out of it. All right. Next one. I usually just go down all of them just to see which ones I can get. And then with the letters that I get, I tend to be able to figure it out. Big name in non-dairy milk. Oatly. I feel like that's really big. Nice. First try, baby. So yes, I am 65 years old. This is my ideal morning. Doing the mini crossword, drinking my coffee. Love it. I already did my meditation for the morning. I wake up at 6 usually. I did my meditation. I actually did a guided meditation that I've recorded. I've recorded so many guided meditations for my clients, for different programs that I've done. So I have a good chunk of meditations. I probably have like 20 plus. And I picked the like 11 of my favorites and I put them in a little bundle. And so before I release that bundle out into the world, I wanted to really make sure that I chose the right 11 meditations. So I've been doing all of the meditations pretty consistently to make sure that they're still grounded in energy work and they do what they say they were going to do. And I've been really loving it. Today I just did like a grounding meditation, so I'm feeling really good, really anchored in my body, really anchored in my mission as well. I just feel really present and excited and happy. So that's where the energy this morning is coming from, one of the guided meditations that I've made. And now I'm just going to sit here and do the mini crosswords, the wordle, the strands, until it's time to go to the gym.
Do Uncle Nero and Barlow know how close we are? Probably just don't think anything's ever worth the risk. Nothing is worth risking to get against their chest. I feel them.
Hello and welcome to my kitchen. This is another thing I do when I'm not on social media, and that is bake. I bake probably a new recipe once or twice a week. It is definitely my go-to, especially to fill those like few hours when you want to wind down, but you also don't want to like sit in front of a TV or scroll. Baking's just one of my favorite hobbies. I probably bake something new once a week and then something like old and something I like once a week as well. So that's baking something new twice a week. And it is delicious. So today I'm actually gonna make some corn muffins because my mom requested blueberry corn muffins last week and I wanna use up some of the buttermilk and cornmeal that I still have. So today, it's a Saturday, I just finished some clients and some work in the morning. Now it's the afternoon and I don't wanna sit and scroll. I don't wanna sit and watch YouTube or watch a movie or anything. I wanna get my hands dirty. I wanna be really present, listen to some music and bake, and I'm going to take you along. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm taking the muffin tin, I just got all my ingredients out, and I'm taking some room temperature butter and this little thingy, and I'm going to grease the tins with butter, and then I'm going to sprinkle it with flour, and that is why they are not going to stick to the pan because I don't have any of the like paper trays to put in there. The muffin tin, I don't know if you can tell, is buttered and floured, and I'm gonna leave this to the side. Now I'm gonna get a big bowl, put the dry ingredients side, and I have this smaller sized bowl that I'm gonna put all of the wet ingredients inside. Mix the dry, mix the wet, add the wet to the dry, put them in the tin. The oven's preheating to 400 degrees. I'll put the muffins in for like 20 minutes, and then they're going to be absolutely perfect and delicious. I already tested this recipe, so I know it's gonna be great. Normally, it's kind of like a cross your fingers and pray kind of moment, but this one, destined to be good. texture is going to be wet and grainy, but it's gonna make a really, really moist muffin. And now it's transferring the batter into the floured and buttered tray. And I figured while we did this part, we could chit chat a little bit. So I've been baking as a hobby since I was like 10, 11, 12. That time. Love it so much. And a lot of my friends are like, how do you get your recipes? And I'm gonna share it with you now. So I will literally just look for whatever I'm in the mood for and like look up a bunch of different recipes. I don't follow just one recipe. I'll look up, like for example, my mom wanted blueberry corn muffins. So I looked up cornbread, I looked up corn muffins, I looked up blueberry corn muffins, I looked up just regular blueberry muffins. And I just took a bunch of screenshots of the ingredients and the instructions. And then I kind of freelance based on that. I kind of see like what's the common theme? What does all the recipes have in common? What's a little bit different? Why did they use this flour? Or why does some have baking soda, some don't? Like stuff like that. And then I just kind of vibe. I figure out the combination that works. And then I kind of just play around with it on my own. It needs to be precise. Baking definitely needs to be precise. But you can still like have fun with it and try your own things. So it's not that serious. Although like swapping baking soda for baking powder will definitely be a mistake and your recipe will not come out as well. But sometimes I like to substitute flours or substitute egg. If I don't have egg, I'll use like flax egg or applesauce. But then you gotta like do other things to make sure it works. But I just kind of see what sounds good, see what I have in the kitchen, and then I go from there. I'm extremely present and mindful when I'm baking. It's just me working with my hands and something really sweet and beautiful and yummy comes out of it. It puts a smile on people's faces. I love cooking for my friends and family. Well, baking. Cooking is a whole other story. I like it, just not as much as baking. So definitely have been baking more and trying out different recipes since not using social media anymore, which has been honestly such a good thing. Another thing I like to do is to just take a few minutes, I literally can't see, to photosynthesize in the sun, just like this. And I have sparkling water with pomegranate juice and lemon. So refreshing. And I just sit here. I'll show you. I'll sit here for literally however long I need and just a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes of just not looking at my phone, not doing anything, not reading a book, not baking, not being productive, none of that stuff will literally make me feel like I just took like a 2-hour nap. What I've noticed a lot is that like my creativity and my flow and my presence has been sucked dry from social media, and so just 5-10 minutes in the sun not only recharges my energy and makes me feel more grounded, but I also get really beautiful creative ideas, and the thoughts I think are just a lot more aligned and balanced. Okay, so the muffins look gorgeous. I also had a little bit of cookie dough left and I decided to put it in the air fryer to see what happens. I think it's a little burnt, but I think she's great. I think she's gonna taste delicious. Well, Saturday afternoon baking session is complete. Very successful. I cannot wait to cut it open, slather some more butter on it. It only took, honestly, 45 minutes out of my day, and I feel just very productive, very aligned, very satisfied with myself. I think that's a really great word to use. Instead of sitting and scrolling or sitting and kind of like wasting time and just like not really being in the world, like you're a human on this planet. Like, yes, it can be hard sometimes, but like there is so much at your disposal. And so when you really become like an active participant of your life and you, I don't know, you just get up, you look up a recipe, you see what you have in your cabinets and you just slap something together, you feel really satisfied. You feel accomplished. You feel in tune with, you know, what you're meant to be doing here on this planet. And that could look like anything. Maybe you hate baking and that's completely okay. Maybe your hobby is like knitting or I don't know, like literally anything else. Or maybe you just love to like work out. And so if you have an extra 45 minutes, you do yoga or a HIIT workout or like some type of YouTube video like that. Like, I don't know, like anything that makes you feel inspired and brings you joy, that is what you should fill your time in for social media. It's not always about being productive. Sometimes it's just about being present and grateful to be alive. I'm definitely grateful to be eating one of these muffins very shortly. Hello, my beautiful friends. I am ready to wrap up this video with my biggest thoughts, takeaways, lessons, and experiences from this social media detox journey. So at the time that I am recording this, it has been almost a month, a little over 3 weeks, since I decided to delete social media and stop the doom scrolling. The only thing I've allowed myself to do is intentionally watch YouTube videos that are either educational or uplifting, and I would check my Instagram direct messages on my laptop as to avoid the scrolling purposes. Another thing I did was I would update my story, but only when I uploaded a YouTube video. So I've only added to my story once, or I guess twice now that you're watching this, for the 2 YouTube videos that I've posted in the last few weeks. But that's it, just going in to update that I've uploaded or check any messages from clients or potential clients, and that's it. Other than that, I have not used social media in any scroll-like function, and I've really limited my time on social media to less than 5 minutes a day, if that, really just a minute of checking messages and quickly responding. And I have broke down all of my feedback and lessons and effects into 5 different categories. I have them written on my phone. I'll read them out to you, and I hope this video inspires you to do your own social media detox cleanse. So let's get to it. The first section I have is mental clarity and emotional regulation. So this cleanse has allowed me more time for my thoughts to be heard. I think that's really significant here. It's like I didn't realize how much I was doom scrolling just because I didn't want to hear myself think. And so the first thing I noticed was that, wow, I have a lot of thoughts. So the first few days, the first week really, my thoughts were really loud. I had so many thoughts. And then as the days went on, I had less and less, overthinking and less just noise up here, because I actually gave myself the time to reflect on it, handle those thoughts, think them, and then take action upon them. The next thing is my mind is way less cluttered, because now I don't have these like constant small clips of visual and audio stimuli that are just like circling my memory, and the sounds that are trending, like that would just stay and repeat. So not only did I hear my thoughts more clearly, I had more space to hear them, but I've actually decreased the mental clutter. At first it was a lot of thoughts, but less clutter, and then it just became less clutter and thoughts, and everything felt a lot more balanced. It became easier to regulate my nervous system because I actually had time to take my time, to not rush, to be mindful and present. So I found that it was a lot easier to calm myself down when I did feel overstressed or activated emotionally in some way. And I also felt way less stressed because I had that time to regulate my nervous system when I needed to, instead of just letting it build up over the day or the weeks. Also, I had way better sleep. This is interesting though, because the first week I had terrible sleep. And I don't know if this was because of the whole detox. I had other stuff going on that could contribute to a lack of sleep. Energetically speaking, there was just a lot going on in the spheres. But I found that the first week I had terrible sleep, and then I got better and better sleep. And I contributed to the not scrolling and seeing blue light before bed. So I would fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. The next category is presence and awareness. I felt way more present in my everyday life. I felt like an active participant and like I was actually choosing and controlling my day, which is interesting because I had the same level of control when I was on social media and now without. But the difference, and the key significant difference here, is that I'm mindfully making those choices. I'm not letting my subconscious rule the show because I'm actually giving myself the time to be present within my day. Also, mundane moments started to feel richer and more joyful. Like literally, doing the dishes, listening to some music felt so much fun. And it's because, again, I wasn't rushing, I was present, and I was in my body because I was giving myself the space to do everything. I had more time because I wasn't spending time just scrolling, but also because of the less clutter in my head and the more embodied I was, everything felt better, even the moments that I don't even think about. Also, I became way more aware of other people's addictions to their phones. Like I would be out to dinner with a friend, or I would just be in a social setting, and I would just see them get so sidetracked in conversation by what's on their phone, or just it dung and they like had to look at it, or there was a lull in conversation so they started scrolling. And I became very aware of how other people's relationship with social media can be potentially hindering their social connections. The third section is time and productivity. I felt like I had more time in my day and I felt like time moved slower. And this is no surprise because in psychology, we know that we can either slow down or speed up time with our perception. So we can do that at will. If we are really present and mindful, time will feel slower and longer. And if we are all up in our heads and we are the opposite of present, we are just like boop, floating around in there, then time will feel like it's going faster, right? Have you ever been like multitasking, like doing the dishes and your laundry and this and that, but you're like all in your head thinking about the next thing you have to get done? Whew, you have no time. But if you were to really presently do one task at a time, if you were to just do the dishes, then do the laundry, then call that person back, instead of doing it all at once, you'll feel the perception of time be slower, and then you'll actually like get more done, but you'll get more done peacefully. Your nervous system will be super activated. And also, I just became more productive. I didn't even try, it just happened. It was a consequence of not using social media, having a regulated nervous system, and feeling like I had more time. I just got so much more done in a week than I thought I actually could. So now I know for myself, like, wow, I have time. I have time. If I say I don't, I have time. The next section is creativity and fulfillment. I felt way more creative, which is great because that was one of the big reasons why I did this thing to begin with. I felt like I had no access to my creativity, or that I was just like spitting out a regurgitation of things that I've seen online. And so this week has been so great specifically because I have been just following those intuitive nudges. I've been getting those creative drives and intuitive ideas just way more frequently, and then I've actually had the time and energy to act on them. And I just feel so in alignment because of that. I also baked a lot of new recipes, which you saw, and I haven't really baked anything new in months and months. And I think it's just because I didn't have that creativity in me, but now that I do, I wanted to experiment with new recipes. I was feeling the desire for a challenge and the desire to create something new, and that motivation and drive and desire I haven't felt in a while, so that's just been so good to have back. Also, I checked a lot of books off of my TBR, my to be read list, which again is no surprise because instead of scrolling, I've been reading. So that's been great. I've read a lot of books. I am ahead on my reading challenge of how many books I want to read in a year. I'm ahead, which is great. And then the last category is self-esteem and personal growth. One thing that I didn't expect, but I'm not surprised and I'm so happy about, is that my self-esteem dramatically improved. The past few months, I have been so self-critical in my head, and I've been constantly comparing myself and thinking of the ways in which I'm not measuring up, or the ways in which I'm not successful enough, or just XYZ enough. And since stopping social media and the doom scroll, I don't know, that all those thoughts went away. I feel a lot more confident. I feel a lot more proud of myself and the life that I'm creating, and I'm no longer having those thoughts of I should be more successful by now, or I should have X, Y, or Z by now. Like all of those things aren't happening, probably because I'm no longer comparing myself to like thousands of people a day. All right, maybe that's dramatic. Thousands of people a month maybe. But really, when we sit there and scroll, if it's like a new person every video, our brain just naturally starts to compare. I mean, it's what the brain does. But without that added stress, I just feel so much better about myself, and I feel so much more grateful for my life, and I feel so much more peace and comfort and excitement for the future. And overall, I just feel way more fulfilled and satisfied with my life as it is. If change happens, but I'm no longer forcing it. I'm no longer like twiddling my thumbs, begging for time to speed up or for things to change. I feel a lot more fulfilled, and I've been waking up without any stress, just immense gratitude. Like the amount of times I've cried tears of joy the last 3 weeks are crazy, because I'll just have moments where I'm, again, so present, not stressed because my nervous system is regulated, and I'll just be so in the moment, and I'll be like, I'm so grateful for the gift of life. Like, yes, I have desires and dreams and goals, and yes, I have not yet achieved so much of what I want to achieve in this life, but right now in this moment, I'm fulfilled, I'm satisfied, I'm grateful, and I'm joyful. And that level of peace I could not have done with Instagram on my phone. So that is the little wrap up. That is the feedback I have from my personal experience on this journey. I encourage you 1000% to give this a try. I honestly don't know if or when I'm going to download Instagram back. I'm not sticking to any hard, fast rule, but right now I'm living my life social media free, and I'm going to continue doing it for a little bit longer. And I challenge you to just go 3 days, 5 days, a week without it and just see what happens for yourself. Do this experiment and then take all the data that you get from it and decide what you want to do with it after. You are so in control of your life, and you have so much life and energy to give. So don't sacrifice it scrolling. Really become that active participant. Just see what you can do with that extra time, less stress, and more presence in your life. If you resonated with this video or if this inspired you in some way, then stick around and subscribe. I am a holistic wellness counselor and energy medicine practitioner, and I just love, love, love to make content that educates and inspires souls to truly align with their highest self. So if that's up your alley, then stick around, like, subscribe, comment, all of those YouTube things, and make sure to click the description box to see ways that you can work with me one-on-one or download my meditation bundle. See you in the next video. Bye!